Mike, thanks for coming in the studio here. A lot of Americans are looking for an alternative this November. Why do you think the Libertarian Party hasn't scooped up as many people as it likely could? Here we are with 4 months left before election day.
I think a lot of people are used to voting for a Republican or a Democrat, and I think the debate showed last night that there's good reason to look for an alternative. I think a lot of people will be looking to the Libertarian Party as not just a third party, but the third party. And I think that they'll notice that our values align better with theirs than the Republicans and the Democrats do.
Every 4 years, we have to reintroduce libertarianism to the American electorate. They're the Democrats, Republicans, and a lot of independents in the middle.
Yep.
If you had to sum it up, I think you have a 10-point platform on your website. If you had to sum up top 3 things you would do if elected, what are they?
Well, it's initially to take power and to leave you the heck alone. That's the basic idea, is that we encourage Americans to live your life, control your own property, chart your destiny, and have a government that leaves you completely alone. So we believe in taking less of your money so that you can keep more money in your pocket. We have a plan to defeat inflation once and for all so that you can make ends meet. And by the way, we believe that we need a fundamentally different foreign policy because it doesn't align with Americans' values, and to be honest, it doesn't work.
Now, a lot of those sound like something Democrats or Republicans would say, but you guys are starkly different. Explain how then. I mean,
we are starkly different in the sense that Republicans and Democrats don't like the idea of going to war, but they keep propagating it over and over again. We believe that military interventionism is not a good foreign policy, that we can save a lot of money, we can save a lot of lives, and we can pursue a foreign policy that better aligns with our values by bringing troops home and ending foreign aid and stopping the projection of military hegemony just for the sake of controlling the rest of the world. It's not a policy that makes us safer, it's not a policy that makes us richer. And with regard to spending money, you're right, once in a while you'll hear a Republican say we spend too much money. Frankly, you don't even hear that from a Democrat very often these days. But we have a plan to actually cap federal spending and to bring that cap down over time. We believe that the federal government of the United States is in serious trouble financially. As a matter of fact, I don't believe it's likely that on a financial basis our government will survive past the middle of the century unless we have a serious course correction.
Mike, you've run for Congress as a Republican. You've worked in the first Bush White House. You talked about bridging the political divide in America. How do you get Americans, though, to rise above the tribalism of party politics?
I think that you've got to recognize that it's in your own interest to vote for your values, to vote for change. A lot of people join the Republican Party, as I did a long time ago, believing in free trade, free markets, a deregulated, pro-growth economic environment. If those are the reasons that you join the Republican Party, you and your party have gone in 2 different directions. But welcome home to the Libertarian Party that still believes in those values. My family is mostly Democrats. They joined that party with some sense that that would be an organization that would stand up for a sense of social liberalism, that would stand up for your First Amendment rights, stand up for your personal rights. You and your party have gone in 2 different directions if those are the reasons that you joined the Democratic Party. Again, I say welcome home to the Libertarian Party, which is where we still are.
Donald Trump reached out to libertarians. He was booed at your national convention there in D.C. recently, but he still leads the polls nationally. What do you think a second Trump administration would look like if he is elected?
I think it would be a little bit chaotic, don't you? I would not be optimistic that he would follow through even on the promises that you like to hear. And of course, the promises that he has made, he had an opportunity to follow through on those during his first administration. He is not pro-growth in terms of economy. He's not anti-tax. He is not a guy who is even pledged to resolve our foreign conflicts, to bring troops home, to reduce the amount of money that we spend projecting power abroad. He has no plan to change the entitlement infrastructure in the United States, which we do need to adjust in order to save money and get the government on a financial footing that can last.
Does that mean less Social Security, or what do you mean by that?
In the long run, I believe that the right answer is to stop forcing young people into the Social Security program. Yes, absolutely. For retirees, we wouldn't change a thing. In between someone who's 18 and someone who's already retired, we would give you an option of getting paid out or to stay in the program. But for youngsters, honestly, I believe there's an ethical problem with forcing young people into a program that promises them a rotten rate of return, if any rate of return at all, right? and not give them a choice about how to manage their life. That's not just a math problem. That's a values and an ethical problem.
I asked you about Trump. What would a second Biden administration look like in your view?
I do worry. I do worry. And that's because, I mean, all of us saw Joe Biden the other day. You have to be personally affected by the idea that this is a gentleman who has, however you feel about his policies, he has made an honest attempt to serve the United States as best as he sees fit. And that time has come and gone. And I just think on a personal level, it would be cringy to watch him try to serve out another 4 years. So I would worry who would actually be in charge of the White House if he were the ostensible head of our government. I don't think it's likely that a Biden candidacy will carry the day, and I think it's probable that they'll replace him before they get to the convention, or at least at the convention.
You think so?
I think so. No guarantee.
Sure.
I get a lot of predictions wrong.
With who, though? I mean, the Vice President, Kamala Harris, doesn't poll well against Donald Trump. Who do you think? Governor of Michigan, Governor of California?
I don't know. I would expect there to be an open convention. The Libertarian Party has an open convention every 4 years. We just had one a few weeks ago. We chose Chase Oliver, who is a brilliant young man and a peace activist who gets tremendous traction with young people and with people who are not just libertarian, but frustrated with the Republican Party and frustrated with the Democratic Party. He brings in people who are independent. He does a marvelous job. Does the Democratic Party have someone like that? No, obviously. But they have others who would vie for the opportunity.
4 months away from the election, there are many Americans no doubt looking for an alternative to vote for in November. Do you expect that libertarians would draw more support from Trump or from Biden?
I think it's different in different communities. There are staunchly conservative Republican communities in which we'll do very well because we are fiscally conservative, because we do believe in you living your life by your own standards. Absolutely. And then there are Democratic communities where we will also do very well because we are the party that stands up for your First Amendment rights and your right to live your life by your own standards. And that's what a lot of Democrats look for. So it's going to be hit and miss. I don't think that as an empirical matter we can answer that question yet. But it's typically a third, a third, a third. Disaffected Republicans, disaffected Democrats, and independents who will be brought into the system for the first time because they see a sense of optimism that you won't get from the other parties.
Mike, is this election cycle any different from previous ones? It sure seems like that from where I sit.
It's very different. It's different in the sense that people are looking harder for an alternative, and I think for two very different reasons. Yes, obviously the candidates who represent those parties are problematic.
Yeah.
Each one has its quirks and reasons why people won't support them. But even more importantly, I think that people are frustrated with the policies of those parties. Policies that those parties used to pursue in earnest, but have left behind. You have to admit that for each one of those parties, their number one objective is keeping the other side out of power. This is one of the reasons why we're so split politically in the United States, whereas we are all about bringing real solutions. And so I think that there's a different feel, both on a personal level about the candidates, but also a frustration with our political process.
Libertarians, though, to really break out, need some big-time donors. Why is it so hard for libertarians to collect that cash?
I think it's because donors want to support a winner. And up until now, they have defined winning as going all the way and securing the White House. I believe that we have a decent shot at actually doing that in this cycle because Chase Oliver is that popular and that skilled a politician who represents the values Americans are looking for.
But you need money to introduce you guys, though.
It's a chicken and egg, isn't it? You need to convince a number of donors and a lot of voters and a lot of your viewers who are watching us today that there are objectives, even short of securing the White House, that are worth standing behind. The idea of interrupting the usual process. If we can just gain enough support to force Republicans and Democrats to recognize that our values are important, right? Our policy positions are important and can't just be disregarded. That would be a huge win. And I think a lot of donors are recognizing that as an important objective worth supporting this time.
Mike, good luck to you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you giving me the chance to tell us about the program.